Don't be a knob. Come on, give us a wave, Ryan. Give us a wave. Give us a wave, Ryan. Man, you are so lame, you old man.
Need a wave for the TikTok video, man. Oh, of course. As soon as he puts it on the camera, he starts waving. Absolute knob. But yeah, classic. What have you guys been up to?
Fish Aquarium Inhabitants. What does that mean?
Wow.
So you guys are obviously hearing that Ryan has only just read the episode topic while we're live. So that's always good. I'm sure he's done a lot of research and forethought on the subject, naturally. So yeah.
Stones and bits of wood.
No, I mean like, snails and stuff. Plants.
Snails.
Well, other things you put in an aquarium that's not a fish, like live things. Maybe it's not your area of expertise, but you still got.
Well,
I'm sure you can talk about some trumpet snails for a while.
Not a hang of a lot in New Zealand that we can do.
Well,
snails and plants.
We don't get shrimps and stuff like that, and we've done plants.
Well,
so
we can probably discuss it. We can probably discuss it more in depth when we actually get to the main. What would you call it? The main, subject for today. So,
all right,
just be patient. But don't worry.
Just officially, this sounds pretty lame. So we'll just go from there.
Well, it annoys me that you complain about it all the time. You never contribute on episode subjects.
Hey,
until you start contributing, you can shut the hell up.
You deal with people all day, every day. You should be used to this. This is just what people are like.
Yeah, no. I disagree.
Let's give it a go. No.
Yep. But yeah, what have you guys been up to recently that's fish related? What type of exciting things do you have to report to me?
Who are you talking to? Me or Ryan?
Either. Actually, you. I'm not talking to Ryan at the moment.
What? What are you not talking to me for? Are you packing a cam? Are you picking a cam shit? Are you?
You're a meanie.
Okay, yeah. God, pick a cam shit. To me in the fish room.
No, I said cam. I'm not talking to you.
The most exciting thing that I've had happen is I collected some poo neon fry, so that was good.
Some neon fry.
So we've got.
He loves neon tetras.
We've got some fish that we purchased as blue neons, blue neon peacocks, which are really cool. But they were purchased off the wholesalers, so until we've determined if they're right, we are calling them poo neons at the moment until we know if they are blue neons.
Trust me, it's very funny.
They look promising. But yeah, I collected some fry off them once, and then all the fry just died for some reason. But I've managed to get some more fry off them now, and we'll just see what the fry grow out like and go from there. And then I also did a massive sortathon and had like 6 tanks of fish that I went through and did like small fish, medium fish, big fish, small fish, medium fish, big fish on all my fry, and then put them all in their own tanks so that they could grow. So,
good and organised, eh?
Well, like I've mixed obviously 2 groups of fry a couple of weeks apart, so one group just grows and the other group doesn't. So catch every single fish and make sure they're in the right size tank so they actually grow and do the right thing. So yeah.
No, it makes sense. Sounds like a fantastic Christmas.
Yeah, I was just thinking that. It just turned on. Fancy.
Is that on a timer?
Yeah.
Nice. It's weird that you put it on at this hour.
Yeah. It goes on. It's supposed to go on at 6, but obviously my time is just not quite right.
Yep, fair enough.
It's one of those windy ones because remember I had the drama with the digital one and I stopped buying them until I figured out that it was not in 24 hours.
Your own stupid fault. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
But yeah, what have you had going on, Cam?
I had my T-bars spawned and make babies. They've got a fry hanging around at the moment, which was kind of cool.
Nice.
And yesterday I tried again for around about 100 of setting up an immersed plant setup to grow plants out the back.
What sort of plants are you looking at?
We've already got 3 different sorts of Java fern growing and some Inhabitants and stuff like that, but I want to get some stem plants going too, so we'll see how we go. Every other attempt so far has been a bit of a fail, but that's okay.
Yeah. What is the benefit of doing it that way?
They grow faster. In theory, no algae, no snails, no dramas, theoretically, but it's mainly about the speed that they grow.
Yeah,
and they grow. So why do they grow? Why do they grow faster?
Because they've got unlimited supply of CO2, which isn't unlimited in the aquarium.
Yeah, that makes sense.
They can grow faster.
And the theory is that you keep them in a really high humidity environment, with lots of light, and then they suck in all the CO2 out of the air, and then grow like little buggers.
Yeah.
Most people do it in greenhouses, though, right? Don't they? So they don't have to use any lighting; they just use the greenhouse light and the heat, and they just go like mad. And you're in a bit of a big warehousey thing, so you're probably at a little bit of a disadvantage because you have to add artificial lighting, right?
Yeah, but that also means I am at an advantage in the winter time because I can control my lighting, which means when other people's plants slow down, mine will still be growing at the same speed.
That's something that I think a lot of people don't really know or realize is like how kind of seasonal the quality of plants is. Like, I remember there's this one image that I can't remember if I sent it to you or you sent it to me, but I think it was last year of some Ambulia that was immersed grown from one of the suppliers.
It was like
literally, literally, it would have been like maybe 5 centimeters at the most for 3 stems.
Yeah,
and it costs like, I think they were the ones that like would retail like $5, but it's literally like, it's like the size of your thumbnail, like, of plant. It's like no one is going to use this. There's more leaf than plant here. This is what this is literally, you take it and then it's like you have to grow it for like 2 months before it's big enough to be able to sell.
Yeah.
But that happens quite a lot. Like, it is very, very seasonal. And that I understand is from the I understand that's from the light and from the temperature, is it? We're just getting roasted in the chat by Paul Peters. So that's lovely.
I often think that about these guys. Oh, good. I like it.
But sorry. So what was I saying? Oh yeah, so I understand that's from the light and also the temperature, is it? The plants slowing down through the winter time.
Yeah. Well, it's like very much the same as like seasonal vegetable gardening, for example. Plants need sunlight and stuff to grow.
You can't get many strawberries in winter, so
and then same thing. Grow. And I guess a lot of people don't realize that most aquatic plants grow out of water seasonally during the year, like dry seasons, wet seasons, and stuff like that as well. So it's quite normal for them to be growing this method, but it's also quite normal for them to have seasons of growing as well. So
it would be backwards, though, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it be immersed in summer and then underwater during winter?
Say that again. Immersed in summer, yeah.
But then in New Zealand, commercially, it grows faster in winter. No, faster in summer, and then slower in winter. Oh no, wait.
Yeah, but if you go over to the northern hemisphere, that becomes your normal. So it just becomes.
Well, they wouldn't have. They don't really have summer and winter over there as such. Well, they do, but it comes a dry season, a wet season in a lot of these environments, doesn't it?
Just like spring and summer becomes our spawning season for the fish, that would be the opposite way around if they're in their natural waters. It just becomes their norm.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. That's
definitely one of those ones. Cam, well done.
No, but I'm not gonna lie. Halfway through that conversation, I got myself backwards confused.
And you said something that made sense, so I'm confused.
Yeah, but that I think is something that a lot of people don't really know about. Like how things are seasonal, or especially with like the immersed plants side of things, it does really depend on what's the weather's doing and all that kind of thing.
And you'll see people complaining, oh, we went into a pet shop and 6 months ago they had all these nice plants, now they've got nothing, what's going on? So that's why
Cam's hopefully going to be growing enough to resolve that issue.
Equally, I think people forget there's so few suppliers growing plants, and like you see a lot of people complain about the lack of availability or a lack of species available in pet shops, but like there's 3 wholesalers growing plants, for example, and they don't all carry all the plants that are available in the hobby in New Zealand. So like tiger lotus, for example, red tiger lotus don't seem to get grown at wholesale. So you're basically relying on hobbyists to provide that plant, and there's plenty of plants that are around like that for one reason or other, slow growth rates, or they don't want to grow them.
Or maybe they don't get grown immersed. Maybe they just don't grow well immersed or commercially. So there'd be low as fuck margins on plants too. So why would you know what I mean? Like they've got to sell a lot of them to make any money.
Yep. So why are they going to take a 4-foot tank to grow 20 tiger lotuses when they can just round and round and round and round with lots of fish the whole time?
Yeah, exactly.
It all makes sense in a business perspective,
business logics perspective, yeah.
But you do wonder if someone was to grow everything and keep it available all year round and have good quality, healthy, big plants and charge more, would they do better, or is there just not the demand in New Zealand?
Why don't you do that? It can be Ryan's African cichlids and specialist plants.
I have about zero interest in growing plants, apart from my cool plants that just grow like my Java fern or Java moss carpeting plants. That's the extent of my plant growing desires.
No, grow some duckweed,
and
man.
Plants out of tank. I can't grow duckweed. It goes down the overflows. I hate it.
Yeah. I hate you. Hey, do you want some of mine? Here you go. I just pulled some out of my tank. You want it? You can have it.
No, you've been eating that. Yuck.
That's what I did too.
Oh,
the alarm's going off. Time to wake up.
Yeah, it's the 4th one that's gone off already. Just so I'm never late anymore. Unlike you.
Makes sense.
Late.
You were 2 minutes late, so whatever.
For me, I haven't had anything too exciting, specifically actual fish related, but yesterday it was. Ryan actually came and visited me, and he gave me the Christmas present that was shown on a couple episodes a wee while ago. So I thought I'll report back because it is fish related. So I thought I'll give you guys the down low. So I was going to bring it with me home so I could show it on the episode on the podcast, but I forgot. So I'm going to have to just use my words to paint you guys a picture. So I opened this box, right?
Is this a moment that we need to close our eyes and become one with your voice?
If you like.
And manifest intentional guppies. Oh, that's a different thing.
No, that's a different thing, you idiot. But so I opened this box, and there's a piece of paper, right, that just has a picture of a dick on it, so that he's drawn. So there's that. But then you take that off the top and get rid of that. And
the intention was for him to open this live, but it didn't happen. So
what are you gonna do? But yeah, so you take that away, and then you look in, and there was just heaps of fish-related books. I think there was like, how many? I think there was like 6 or something like that. All different types of books. Like, there was African cichlid books, and there was like breeding books and pleco books, and I think one other one that I don't remember what it was. But yeah, some really cool ones like Ag Conning's book and all that kind of thing. which was really cool. And so,
like these sorts of books, good books, the Back to Nature guides, all that sort of stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. So I actually, even not that long after you left, Ryan, I had a kid come in. Zach, who listens to the podcast sometimes, and he was looking through them all, like trying to spot some cool stuff. So yeah, that was very cool. Thank you very much. It was a good time.
And inbred cam is going to get some too that are no good to you, like the Plico ones, and there's one, that breeding fish one might be pretty good for him too.
Yeah.
I'd just like to add that because I closed my eyes, I really envisioned that dick when you said pulled a dick out of the box. So thank you for telling me to close my eyes and become one with the story.
I think you need to get your hands off it.
But yes, that's what I got up to yesterday, and that was pretty cool. I appreciate it, and I'm sure if any of you guys are interested in giving them a read, come down and I'll keep them at the shop. You can sit in one of the chairs and actually read the books if you like.
One of the Ed Connings books that he's got, I've got as well, but it's got pretty much photos of every single African cichlid in the lake and all their names and all that sort of stuff, and stories about them, all about where they come from, and all talking about where all the lakes are, where all the rocks are, and what you can find when you go to certain points and all that sort of stuff, and all the maps of all the lakes and all that sort of stuff. So it's pretty technical sort of things.
It's very cool
for African. Is that a Back to Nature guide? Is that a Back to Nature guide?
No, that's the basic one. That's the one, the natural cichlid, the natural habitat one, and it's got like a gazillion photos. You can't see it. Yeah, you get it.
Just so, given that we're on a audio podcast, Ryan just held up the book and flicked through it. So
you can't see it, so it's kind of pointless.
Just so you guys know what happened. But it's a cool book. You're welcome. You guys are welcome to come have a look.
Where do we get the book? If you want the book, you need to go on to Amazon and something like that. It'll probably cost you $140.
Get it from the US and that.
Yeah. There's Ed Connings has his own, I think it's Ed Connings one, I don't know. Cichlid Press is his, cichlidpress.com, I think it is his website. He sells them direct from there. I think the 5th edition is the latest one, but there's not a lot of changes from the 4th because I had both at one stage as well. But yeah, it is real good to look up, what you have to get pretty geeky with it to find out what fish you're looking at, but you can flick through and see fish we've got. Cam did that when Cam was looking through. I was like, "Hey, we've got that, we've got that, we've got that, we've got that." So yeah,
it's pretty cool, man. Like a lot more. We have a lot more of them than you'd first imagine, I reckon.
I find it really interesting you've said that because just recently I've been thinking about how many fish we actually have here, and like everyone's often there's complaints about us not having fish and certain species, but we've actually got a lot of really, really cool fish here.
Oh yeah, 100%.
We don't have like everything, sure, but what we do have, we have some pretty cool stuff.
Oh yeah, 100%. And we do have quite a lot.
Sometimes random obscure tetras come through and stuff, and you're like, oh, that's a cool little rainbow fish or pencil fish and all this sort of random stuff that you've never seen before. So it is cool to see that sort of stuff coming through.
Corridors.
Even I think there was a cool photo of one of those diamond tetras on a Facebook page recently. I think you commented on it, Cam, that they looked pretty cool. And I was like, I don't think I've ever actually. You guys have talked about them, but I don't think I've actually seen one of them, like actually paying attention to one of those before. It looked pretty cool. So,
Yeah, we've definitely got lots of nice fish out there. If you begin sort of opening your eyes and stuff a little bit more to what's about.
Well, we had Dex, who's a friend of the show and African cichlid breeder, visited Aqua House in Germany, and he said he was like impressed, but he wasn't like completely overwhelmed and blown away, because he's like, a lot of the fish they had there we had in New Zealand the same sort of quality. Obviously there's a lot of stuff we couldn't get, granted, but of the stuff we could get, stuff in New Zealand was that him and I have and other breeders have was comparable in sort of quality. So it was pretty cool to hear and see.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
So while we get down on not getting shit, which does suck, we still get some stuff. So we got to do the best we can.
Still get plenty to keep us happy, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we either do or we don't keep fish. So what do you do?
Exactly. Yeah. Well, no,
Can't do
sounds
anything
good.
about it.
Yeah. So now would be normally the listener mail segment. But I'm not going to lie to you guys. We haven't got any emails this week. So.
Oh, that's sad.
So we can't do this segment. But if any of you guys who, listen to the podcast want to send us an email to get featured on the listener mail segment, you can. It is podcast3idiots@gmail.com. And you can send through anything basically that happens related to your fish keeping. So like stories or questions or, any specific sort of advice you need or jokes, like anything of interest to you in fish keeping, send it through and we will read it on the podcast. Because like, to be honest, we don't get a ton of messages, so there's a very good chance yours will get selected.
So I think that people just don't really like us, so it's a bit sad.
See, now everyone's made Ryan feel sad.
And Paul he's just so mean to you two anyway. At least he hasn't been mean to me yet. But
to be fair, he said used the 3 of us in one comment, so that included you. You weren't excluded.
But then he's specifically gone to hassle both of you two. Although Cooler Cam, he reckons, looks like he's in a hostage video, which is interesting.
Probably because there's nothing behind me but a wall.
You also sometimes seem a little bit sterile.
Thanks.
Maybe out of your fragile male ego, he decided best not to insult you today.
Granted.
Or he knew that no one had written to us, and he knew you'd be sad about it.
He just knew it was so easy anyway. He didn't have to dig very deep.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh well, yeah. So that's the update on the listener mail segment.
Random question.
Well, I was just going to finish off. Please do send us messages. Would very much appreciate it. We need your help so bad for this segment, fam. So
also, once you've listened to this episode, you'll know that we're really hurting for episode ideas because this is going to be like the "What fish will you be?" type episode, I think, which was absolutely terrible.
We're not really. We've got a list of like friggin' 40 topics to choose from. Cam just picks the lame ones.
Well, you guys are happy.
Came out of his brain.
You guys You guys are more than welcome to contribute sometime if you want. Otherwise, if I'm doing it by myself,
what are we doing now?
What do you want?
What are we doing now? We're contributing now. We're giving you constructive feedback.
We rise and fall on what you want to do, mate. You're the Simba.
Yeah, it'll be all good. Don't worry about it. It's all under control. Oh, geez, I am pretty bloody good. So hold on. Let me just read that.
We have got some we'll call that listener mail, eh? That's easy.
Okay, sure. You read it out, Ryan.
I get this all the time. So, have 2 lots of fry in separate breeding boxes, 20 in one and 60 in another, 3 weeks apart in the same tank. Took the 20 fry, the older lot, and put them in the other breeder box with the 60 fry and found the 20 older fry dead today. How and why? So was this like is this like that game where you had to decide if it was the maid in the closet with the broomstick or something like that killed them?
Cluedo.
There you go. Yeah. It's an interesting one, that one. If it was the younger ones, I would have said the older ones just killed them. Why would the older 20 fry have died?
How old
overnight.
How old are we talking?
Yeah. And are they the same fry? The same species?
This is Thomas, by the way. So
it's probably
it'll be Africans, I'd imagine.
Thomas. Yeah. Yeah, I've had this all the time with Africans. And it's when you mix species. And it's usually dominance based. Even if one's bigger than the other, sometimes one fish is more dominant than the other. And if you put them, especially in a small space, the bigger ones, the more dominant ones predate on the other ones and just kill them.
So what would you recommend as a solve for that problem?
Well, the obvious, it's a different species. That's the thing. The solve is to have species tanks for every single species, but it's not practical. So what I'm trying to do is figure out what fish can grow up together, and by trial and error, basically, put two fish together. When I go back to the tank in a month, only one species is left. Oh, don't mix those two together again. You know.
Yeah.
So it's just trial and error for me, figuring it out.
No, that makes sense.
I've found that Taiwan reef and lithobates fry don't like going in with anything. So
that's weird. Yeah.
Wonder tiny. Why. The fry is so small.
Yeah. Probably that would make sense. Oh, so you mean like they're the ones that have the trouble? They don't cause the trouble?
No. No. And when I bred like OB, like eye biters, not the OB ones. OB ones seem to be alright, but normal eye biters, they used to just kill everything. This fry. You know, Aratus. When I bred Aratus, the fry at like 0.5 centimeter would just pack hunt any other fish you stuck in the tank and kill it, tear it apart.
It's not ideal.
So yeah, it was not fun.
You should breed more Aratus. They seem like a really cool fish.
Yeah, albino Aratus were cool and they were nowhere near as aggressive. I would probably get them again. Really cool. I probably would get them again. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, hopefully that helps Thomas out.
So that's what I'd say, Thomas, is you put less aggressive fish in with more aggressive fish, and even though the size was different, the smaller ones just whack the other ones off.
Yep.
Kid friendly.
Well, moving on. So we'll do the quick random question of the episode, or of the day rather. And so today's question is: if you could travel and visit one place in the world, where would that place be?
Mine would be Nelson, because I want to see what how like people lived 100 years ago and experience the culture and
comedy guy,
and see what the genetic results of inbreeding have done to populations.
Okay.
And what about you? You're not really helping the stereotype that everyone from Auckland are a pack of wankers, eh?
Also, I don't care.
And also, Ryan's not really from Auckland. Let's be honest.
Yeah. No, I would go somewhere. I'd probably go some. I've been to the States a few times, but I'd like to go to the States because I think everything's just so big and massive, and you can go anywhere and find pretty much anything. Like, you know, you can go just visit an African cichlid breeder that just specializes in one type of fish or whatever, you know, and can do that because the population is so big. I think it's cool. Everything's so massive. Cool cars. Yeah.
Makes sense. What about you, Ken?
The States have always been on my list purely for the sport. But I think Mexico would be another one I'd be pretty keen to go and see for the...
Yeah, Mexico would be cool.
Food.
Yeah. Food would be made,
down for a bit of Mexican food. But recently, I'm going to throw it all together and say South America just because of all the multiple waterways and rivers. And if you say South America, it means there's a whole lot of areas you can go and visit and multiple things you can do. So,
what about Japan? Japan would be cool.
Yeah, Japan's always been like this too. To be fair,
and driving Mario Karts around the city sounds pretty awesome too, right?
Can't go wrong there. Yeah, well, I'd probably say, I don't know. I'd want to
the
go
North Shore of Auckland, because you already live in paradise. Why would you go anywhere else? Is that what you're saying? Yeah.
Exactly, man. But nah, I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, I'd want to go to, I don't know, I'd want to go watch some cricket at Lords, which is in England, or I'd want to go watch some. You what? Sorry.
I think you've got to go to England.
Exactly, which is the reason that wasn't my number one. The number one would be I want to go watch some baseball in Toronto. That would be good fun. So yeah, you guys all fish related, and
you just want to go to Canada so you can smoke weed legally.
Yeah, man.
That'll be Amsterdam
and Canada.
Yeah.
In like half of the world except for New Zealand, but whatever.
Whatever.
Excuse me. So yes, we'll get on to the main subject of today's video, or today's episode, I mean, and we're going to talk about non-fish aquarium inhabitants. So, you know, obviously when you get an aquarium or a fish tank, if you will, the main thing that you're going to think of is fish to keep in there. You know, makes sense. That's why we call it that. But there is a whole lot of other stuff that you can keep in there that's not fish that still provides like a lot of value to people and all that kind of thing, and people really enjoy. So the number one sort of caveat I'll put out there for our international listeners is we're not going to really talk about like the tropical shrimp, just because we don't really get them in New Zealand, but we do get the native shrimp, the little native glass shrimp that you can keep in an aquarium. Not tropical and not the world's easiest thing to keep, but it is doable. So I want to throw that out to you in particular, Cam. What would be some of the most important things to know for someone who's wanting to consider these little native shrimp?
Not sure, never keep them.
Well, we've had discussions about it
They
before.
need a chiller. They need a chiller basically, so they get too warm in summer and they die. So
about the only thing I know is they need to be kept cold.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
I don't know much more other than that.
Yeah. So you would. They look boring.
All right. So yeah, you would want to keep them cooler, definitely. And the other thing as well is, I think a lot of the tropical ones that we can get, can't get, will breed quite easily in, you know, the aquarium environment, but it isn't so much doable with the native ones, because they need, I think it's either brackish or full marine water to, you know, be successful in breeding. So yeah, that is the problem with them. But there is a lot of people that you know seem to have success with them, even in, you know, not breeding them or anything, just like keeping them around, like growing some plants, all this kind of thing. So I think it is definitely something interesting to look at, and something, yeah, a little bit more fun. But I just wanted to start it with those guys because it was a bit more of a I think it's something we're obviously going to get asked, especially from the American listeners, to talk about. But that's basically where our knowledge ends. So yeah, they're something to look into, but probably not the best people to ask. Excuse me. So yeah, next other thing I wanted to talk about was, in particular, something I know you talk about a lot of the time, Cam, which is the mystery snails. So what's like a general rundown on those little guys?
Nothing. They're a mystery.
Absolute comedy gold.
No one knows anything about them.
Damn, you got them before me.
That's all I got.
It's a good one.
Ryan has left the room.
Oh well. See ya.
Mystery snails are really ridiculously, really, really good looking. I mean, cool animals. I think they should be a mainstay in pretty much any community aquarium.
What do they look like?
A snail? Do you want me to go get one?
Sure, go get one.
No, I don't want to do that now. Damn it, you call
Don't
me
offer
bluff.
then. Yeah.
So they're a little blue snail. They are very good for in a community aquarium. They give another point of interest to look at. I've always found myself spending plenty of time watching the snails when they're doing snaily things. They're quite intriguing. They'll often snail their way up to the end of a plant, and then as they get too heavy for the plant, they drop down with it, which is quite fun. They're omnivorous. Basically, they will eat anything, which is helpful. They don't eat plants unless the plants themselves are rotting away, dying. So they'll eat the leaves that are decaying and breaking down, but they will leave healthy plants. They eat a little bit of algae. They're not super good for algae eating, but they do eat algae. To get any impact from them for algae control, you need a whole lot of them. Overall, I think they're a really good option for any community aquarium.
Yep. How big would they get roughly? Would you say?
What's that? 50 an old 50-cent piece size?
Yeah. It's like $2 coin kind of thing.
Yeah, a bit bigger than that.
Yeah.
That's in the full diameter sort of scenario, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and obviously it's circular, so like a 3D shape. But yeah, they are
not a golf ball, but I'm trying to think of something that's that sort of size.
Yeah. Well, see, if you'd got a mystery snail, you could show us, and that would be a lot easier. But someone didn't want to put in the effort. But yeah, that's a good call. The other thing as well is, there's the blue ones, but you also can get the brown ones with the black stripes, which I think just depends on what kind of substrate color you have in that in terms of what will look the best. But at least you've got options.
Yeah, there's no debate. The blue ones are way cooler than the brown ones. If the blue ones had the racing stripes like the brown ones, that would be awesome.
That can be your next breeding project.
I don't know if they are the same species.
Oh, well.
You can put that comment up too about how not to keep them with African cichlids.
Yeah, that's the caveat is community fish is best. So tetras and that kind of thing. Africans will just eat them. But $30 for 2 mystery snails, that is a lot of money. I don't know where you bought them from, but sheesh.
Obviously, but some retailer trying to make some money. Good on them.
Yeah. But what was I going to say? Oh, you've made me lose my train of thought.
It's expensive feed for the African cichlids, though. You probably should just buy fish food.
Yep. But yeah, the other thing as well with them is, I want to say is we internationally, you see there's some really cool ones around, all different colors and that. We're a little bit more limited, but I think it doesn't really matter too much. They are very cool little things. And another question I have for you, Cam, is how do they breed?
Well, so they have the ability to live out of water or go out of water. So they leave the aquarium and they will spawn on, generally if you've got 5 centimeters or so gap between the lid and the water level, they'll go out there and they'll breed out there. They do like moving around the outside of the tank. So if you don't have lids, expect them on the floor. And if you don't find them fast enough, expect your house to smell like dead snail. But I've had
what does that smell like?
Disgusting.
Death.
Yeah.
It's not a good vibe.
Awful. I had some crawl out of a tank and they went halfway up one of the legs of the pallet racking and they spawned on the pallet racking, which I thought was kind of cool.
Oh, nice.
So they spawn out of water, so you definitely need a lid on them. Otherwise, they will go walkabouts and you will not have them and you'll have a smelly house.
Do they
Sounds exciting.
So they lay these eggs, and then these eggs just hatch and they just plop back into the water, do they? The babies, and then.
So, from my understanding, the eggs, when the snails hatch, they need time for their shell to harden, which is why they're out of the water, and then they crawl themselves back into the water. And by the time they get to the water, the shell's hardened enough for them to continue on their merry ways.
And do the parents eat the babies?
Not to my knowledge, no.
Or the eggs?
No. They'll eat the eggs if the eggs fall into the water.
But they don't eat them outside the water?
No.
Yeah.
No.
You can see, if you guys are watching on the video or something, you can see like the gears ticking over in Ryan's head. Like you can actually see him thinking. It's so weird.
How does the snail know that the eggs are in the water and not out of the water? Like,
because they're in the water.
Can't eat. Smarter than you give them credit for.
Can't eat these. They're not in the water, and then they're in the water though. Ooh, yum!
Because they don't go. They don't go out of the water to eat.
But you said they go out of the water to like just do snaily stuff and die.
To reproduce, but they don't go out of the water to eat.
Sometimes I think they just get
you
lost.
don't go into the water to eat. Do you ever eat underwater? No. But you eat out of water.
Maybe it's something to try.
Well, feed them out of water.
No, like eating underwater. Maybe something we need to try. You can try it next episode.
Sounds good.
I don't know if that's an option.
But yeah, they are a very sort of interesting thing like that. I find particularly I think one of the better things for people to breed, if you're wanting to get into the breeding thing to, maybe make a little bit of money or just for a bit of fun, because they don't need very much room. Like realistically, it's quite a little thing. Obviously, a snail doesn't move very fast. You don't need a massive tank. And
are they asexual? Are they males and females, or are they both?
Males and females.
Okay. Oh, after I finish this, Cam, you need to tell about that little trick you told me about how to tell what's a male and female. But the thing is, they're always in real high demand. Like, you won't sell, it's $50 snail or anything, but you will be able to sell them quite easily.
50 at a time.
Everyone always wants them, and they're quite easy to breed, easy to raise, easy to feed and stuff. So, you could quite comfortably take a bag of 50 down to your local fish shop for maybe, $1 each or something like that. It's a win-win situation, so why not? And then with that breeding thing, the other good thing is, like we said, how they go out and lay the eggs above the waterline. If you just want to keep them just to look at, you don't want to worry about having them breeding all the time, just get rid of the eggs, chuck them back in the water, you won't have a problem. So yeah, they are a cool little thing.
Allegedly, the egg sacs are toxic, so toxic to the human touch. So probably don't touch them with bare skin. I'm yet to confirm this to be true or not, but apparently they are.
I'm not going to lie to you. I've touched a lot of them, and I haven't got sick. So,
are you talking about snail eggs or?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So, I don't know. Flick them with a stick or something.
Flick them with a stick.
Yes.
Scrape them off with a razor blade, I would say. But anyway.
But Cam has a little trick for you guys to be able to tell what is a male and a female mystery snail, apparently. So, take it away, big boy.
So, because they can, they go to water to reproduce and stuff like that, you can take them out of the water, and after a couple of minutes, they'll sort of open up. And on the inside of what I affectionately call their trapdoor, you can look inside of it, and they've got two different shapes. One shape represents a male, one shape represents a female. Sort of a round shape to a ovally type shape is the difference. So that's a way of working it out. I can't remember which one's which off the top of my head, but yeah, there's a way of working it out.
Into Google.
So you're talking the shape of the entry into the shell.
Basically, yeah. No. So inside the shell, there's like a little tube type thing, which is where the eggs come out of.
Oh yeah.
So you can see the reproductive glands, I suppose you'd call them.
You're having a perv at their butts, basically.
Pretty much, yeah. It's also the way you can work out whether you've just now still alive. Take it out of the water, and once if it was a trapdoor, it's alive, and if it doesn't, well, probably not so alive.
Oh, well, good to find out. The other thing as well that I wanted to ask you, Cam, is what is their life expectancy of the average snail?
A couple of years out of them normally.
Yeah, so not too
super
long,
long,
relatively, but long enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, that's our download on the mystery
Are they
snails.
tropical?
Yeah, they don't do well in cold water.
No.
I find that fine in room temperature, but outside is no good.
Yeah.
So, like,
Yeah,
we'd
have a lot.
the
We'd have a
average
lot
room
in New
temperature
Zealand.
house, they'll be right.
We have a lot in New Zealand that would survive in a modern house that stays above sort of 18 to 20 degrees. But if you're going down to 16, 14, 16 degrees, no.
Same with
If you live in
apple snails.
Helensville,
Apple snails are fine in cooler water, but not cold water.
Well, that is the perfect segue to the thing I was going to raise next.
Apple snails.
What's an apple snail, and what do I need to know about them?
They're the big golden ones, and they eat plants.
There's also brown ones, which is quite cool. Like,
sure.
Kind of, not really. I don't know how you describe that color, but kind of like
as big as an apple, eh?
In theory, yes. Well, depends on the apple. I've seen some pretty big ones, like fist size, but not a lot. They don't always grow that big. But yeah, they're basically like, in terms of how they behave and everything, like the same as a mystery snail, except where a mystery snail will only eat like dead plants, and apple snail will eat live plants and dead plants.
And everything in the bath.
Exactly. But that obviously means they're much better algae eaters. Well, not obviously, but it means they're much better algae eaters, I reckon, because it's basically like if it's alive, they eat it. But the other good thing with them, I reckon, is if you are, particularly for like little kids and stuff, if you're really into the snails, you get much more out of them, I think, like just size-wise, like they get bigger in that. So,
I got a question. What do you feed? Do you feed the mystery blue snails? Do you like put snail pellets on? Do you buy snail food for them?
I would, but you can just feed them like algae wafers from like, the same as what you'd feed like a bristlenose or something.
And they just snaily down to them and eat them, do they?
Yep. Or you can put like cucumber or lettuce or something in there.
Yeah, they need calcium for obviously their shell development, and they also need a decent amount of protein as well for their trapdoor development as well. So don't exclusively feed them algae pellets because they need some stuff. But if you've got an algae pellet that's got a decent amount of protein in it, you should be okay.
Yeah, like I think those
Don't feed them flubendazole.
Yes, they are allergic. Well, basically allergic to flubendazole, but there is.
They'll be sensitive to a lot of stuff, wouldn't they?
I forgot what I said.
Copper.
Yeah, like copper in there as well. Yep.
Overdosing of a calcium supplement, they don't like that either, as I've just recently learned.
That's not ideal.
No.
But what I was going to say is what a lot of people like, especially like little kids, is like, having a pet snail. Because like obviously it's a little bit easier. They're not, I'm going to say, as hard work. Well, I'd say they're easier to look after than a, fish for the most part. But the other thing as well is I actually have quite a few little kid customers who just have an apple snail or a couple apple snails and just nothing else in the tank. Like got a little, helicopter ornament or something, and that's like their tank is just this apple snail. And I think that's really cool. Like it's something a bit
and
different.
they need a filter and stuff, do they? Like do they have the same? Are they sensitive to the same crap that a fish is sensitive to, or are they a little bit tougher because they're a snail?
Pretty much.
They're like the way I kind of describe it is like they're like the same basically in terms of the stuff and where you want them sort of ideally. But if stuff goes wrong, that I find they're a bit more hardier. It obviously like that's not to say you want that stuff to happen. Like you still want, for example, zero ammonia. But if you make a mistake and there is a little bit, they're a little bit more sort of resilient to that than something else. So they'll give you a little bit more time to get on top of it before.
Won't they just
it all
bugger off
goes
out of
tits
the water
up.
if the water goes bad?
Well, depends. If you have a lid on,
They go out of water to reproduce. It's their instincts to go out to reproduce, not to save themselves. So, like as an example, the other day when I overdosed the calcium, they didn't go out of the water. They just didn't move for 5 hours and died.
and then they didn't move for the rest of time.
Forever. Yeah. It's not their instinct to get out of the water if it's going bad. It's their instinct to reproduce out of the water.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kind of like it's not fish instincts to go out of the water.
Depends on the
But
fish,
they
I
do.
suppose.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of mud skippers?
Yeah, they're pretty cool.
Idiot.
Are they really a
But
fish
yeah.
though? Aren't they like an axolotl? They don't really count.
Well, I have no idea. We can talk about them on this later in this episode. But what was I going to say about apple snails? Something else. I don't remember. But they are really cool little things that are really interactive and fun. And honestly, like, you know, I know he's touched on it before, but like, if your aquarium allows, like, stocking wise, you should definitely have like one snail or something, because they just do such a fantastic job of like cleaning up all the little dead leaves that, you know, if you're doing maintenance, like cleaning the glass and you break off a few leaves and stuff, they just handle all that and you don't have to worry about it, and it's perfect. They're so cool, and they're a different level of activity. So yeah, can't recommend them enough. But what was I going to say? Don't remember. See, I'm all flustered now for some reason. But yeah, so that's I guess the snails section. The other thing
What about ramshorns?
Ramshorns? Oh yeah, can talk about ramshorns. So they're like
just going to add before you go away from the mysteries and the apple snails that the shape of the shell determines whether one is a apple snail or a mystery snail. The way that it spirals out on the edge, I believe one of them goes outwards, one of them goes flat, and that determines what species of the snail you're talking about. I can't remember which.
Because you wouldn't want to accidentally add an apple snail to a planted tank and have it eat everything, because they eat fast too, don't they?
Yeah.
Like you'll come in the next morning and everything is gone.
Yeah.
And it's like you wonder where they put it all, but
yeah,
they obviously do.
Yeah. I've heard people saying they've had a 2-foot planted tank destroyed, chewed off to nothing overnight from apple snails.
Yeah. So they are easy to tell also with the colors for the most part, although sometimes you get some bit in between kind of colors, but for the most part, yellow or like just brown is apple snail, and then like blue or brown with stripes, that's mystery snail, more or less. But yes, you said ramshorn snails, Ryan. So what's the down low on the
ramshorns?
Guami.
It's a hill I'll die on.
You what?
I said that's a hill I'll die on.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's not really up for debate. Ryan's just wrong. So
no, he said it, not me.
Don't worry. All right.
So if 2 of the 3 of us believe it's ramshorn, that means you're wrong, Cam.
I don't believe it's ramshorn. I believe Ryan is an idiot.
That's what we're all about.
But yeah, go shoot on the mystery snails. I mean, whatever you just said, ramshorns.
We can't talk about assassin snails because we don't get them, so that sucks. But anyway,
I wish we did. They're cool.
Ramshorns, I don't know anything about. They're just a little curly thing that looks like a ram. They look a little bit like a ram's horn, but they're a ramshorn. They're like a shorn ram rather than a ram's horn.
There's no connection there at all.
There's no connection there at all. It's just a coincidence.
Just a coincidence, yeah.
Yeah, the name sounds similar to what they look like, but it's not the same.
But yeah,
just like your name sounds similar to Dickhead, but it's just a coincidence.
Oh, look at him! He's packing the sad now.
I'm
but
just
yeah,
trying to understand your grasp of the English language, because I'm looking at my name and going, it doesn't look anything like that.
But yeah, so the ram swans will max out about, maybe, I don't know, 10-cent coins kind of size at the absolute max, but generally a little bit smaller. You can get either red ones or brown ones. Again, there is a lot of different colors in different countries, but that's what we get colors wise in New Zealand. And yeah, I mean they're a cool little fish. They will breed faster. What?
Cool little snail. You said they're a cool little fish.
Well,
we're not allowed to talk about fish this episode. That's why it's so exciting. You said fish.
You guys are really annoying, man.
Fish is a no-no word. It's a no-no word.
But yes, they are cool little things that do make a good cleanup crew for your little environment, basically. So yeah.
But they will overpopulate the world.
Yeah, you can regulate it if you are quite sort of strict about feeding and like limiting waste in terms of like dead leaves and stuff like that. But it isn't, it's not as completely simple as like a mystery snail where you can easily see the eggs. But yeah. So we will just quickly go through some of the chat. Helen says good morning. So good morning. She also says she used to keep mud skippers.
I've kept mud skippers too. They were cool. I like them. They were actually.
I know. Someone needs to import some more because I know some people. We're lucky. We're really lucky in New Zealand. We have like one of the world's leading experts in mud skippers, and he doesn't even have any mud skippers at the moment because you just can't get any more. He used to keep them overseas and then moved to New Zealand and can't get them. So that sucks. But if Brian or something is listening to this,
how did you know that?
Go buy some.
Did you meet him in the store? Did you?
Not in store, but I talk to him on the computer sometimes. He's got a really cool like tidal mangrove tank.
Waiting for them.
It's like all mud, and he grows like mangroves and stuff like that. And yeah, he doesn't have any mud skippers in there, but he's got like crabs and stuff like that in there at the moment. And he's just waiting. So if Brian or someone's listening, please import them. That would be very cool. But then, yes, Melissa says snails can save your tank if you overfeed. That is definitely true. They just help break down a little bit of the extra waste and all that kind of thing, do a little bit of tidying, so can't complain. Thomas says, don't apple snails fall under the mystery snail umbrella? I think technically they do, but I guess we're talking more in the
different behaviors, different things like that, eh?
Yeah. And we're talking like the, hobbyist level functional definitions rather than like the actual scientific definitions. But yeah, I believe they technically do, but they are a bit different behavior wise and stuff. Yes, I believe this will be Thomas. I realize I can put the comments up. Thomas says that there's the killer snails, which is assassin snails. We don't get them in New Zealand, but from looking on the internet and stuff, they look pretty cool. Get some nice racing straps in that, so that's cool. Helen says that ram swan blood apparently contains hemoglobin, which is the only snail to do so, which is kind of weird. I don't really know what that means in a functional sense, but it's interesting. And yeah,
hemoglobin. That's something that's in our blood too, isn't it? What does that do?
Yeah,
I forgot.
Doesn't it make it red?
Isn't that a fancy way of saying plasma? I mean, isn't plasma a fancy way of saying hemoglobin?
I have no idea. I'm not going to lie. I did not do very well in science at school.
Why wouldn't
it's
you
responsible? Hemoglobin is kind of important because it delivers. It's responsible for the delivery of oxygen to the tissues. So there you go.
Oh, and it's what makes them red, apparently. So that's interesting. So you guys come to Three Idiots Talk Aquariums for the banter, and you walk away with knowledge. So, what more could you want? Perfect.
And you can also get Malaysian trumpet snails, which I don't like, so I killed them all.
Yep. I think someone
like them.
I don't know where it was, but someone asked what the thing is to kill snails, like the snail poison.
No.
I definitely recommend what is it? Flubendazole. But the problem I find that people have with using flubendazole as a snail poison is you do have to leave it a little bit. I find a lot of people take it out too early before it actually gets everything. So put the flu in and then leave it like a good 2 weeks, really, to get 100% of them. And then you should come back.
Whenever I use flu for treatment, I'd use it and then use it 7 to 10 days again anyway.
Yeah.
There's another dose.
Yeah.
Equally, as I've learned, it lingers in the water for quite a lot longer than I think we expect as well.
Like 100%.
I've put snails into tanks and couldn't work out why they were dying and realised like 3 months ago I put flubendazole in the tank.
Yeah, I don't think it takes much, like, relatively.
They're very sensitive to stuff like that,
yeah.
But the other thing as well is I've read it somewhere. I can't remember. But
the problem also with flubendazole is it's not very water soluble. So it's possible that if you just chucked it in and stirred it around or something, then it would all go sit on the bottom or sit in the gravel. So if you don't actually actively gravel or back it up, there might be the powder might still be in there. If you get what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Is like I read something about that, how it's like even if you use activated carbon, it's not the most efficient as getting rid of it because it's not as water soluble.
Dissolved. It's not dissolved. Yeah. I dissolve it in vodka and it works really well. And and you can have a drink at the same time and it's great. Just don't drink the flubendazole vodka.
You can kill your worms, kill your gut parasites at the same time, and it's a win-win situation.
I don't know if it's a human meat. I haven't researched that. Probably.
No, it's a pig wormer, so it'll work well for you. Boom, roasted.
Bazinga.
Yeah. And then so we have some more questions that have come through the chat. So I believe it's Thomas again. Says, do you have to pick up all the dead snails, or will it cause an ammonia spike? That's a hard one for us to give a solid answer on because it depends obviously how many snails there are, and the tank and everything like that. But in general, I'd say be very careful. Obviously, you don't want to.
When I did all my tanks, and some of my tanks were literally the gravel was moving. Like you couldn't see the gravel for the Malaysian trumpet snails. It was just a constant gyrating trumpet snail orgy. I didn't have any dramas. I didn't have any fish die anyway. I didn't measure my ammonia, but
you also do water changes 3 times a day. So if you did have problems,
my main tanks inside were the ones that were the worst affected, and they only get a weekly water change. But yeah. So I didn't notice it. I didn't measure it though. So maybe it did spike, and maybe because they're African cichlids, they didn't die.
Yep. But yeah, I'd say be careful, but you should be all right. Fingers crossed. Melissa says that the trumpet snails are like worms in the garden. Yes, they are, but worms are cool, and trumpet snails they're ugly. So that's basically it. That's one of those ones mentally, I know that they're good for a tank and stuff, but I just can't get over how ugly they look and how annoying they look.
I used to have intentional trumpet snails.
Intentional trumpet snails? Do you recite them in the morning?
Where I put them into fry tanks to clean up the uneaten food because they don't eat
eggs. Yeah.
So that was good when I was breeding egg-laying fish. They were good for that.
Yep. And and then Helen says,
you can get all sorts of different snails too. Like you can get the bladder snails and the pond snails and all sorts of stuff like that. But they're just random snails. So
yeah. Helen says that she had a hydra infestation in the Brevis tank about a year ago. So she used flu to kill the hydra, but she's still having trouble with the snails. About a year later, which goes to what we're saying. Probably something to do with the lack of water solubility, so it's still lingering. But it's hard to know. But I'm surprised. Even if it lasts a while, a year is a long while. So
you think it will break down and get water changed out by that time.
Yeah, that sucks. But I don't know if I really have anything anything I could say to help you there aside from hope it works out. Really, I'm not too sure what else you could do aside from just water changes and
Do some more water changes. Kind of the default answer: do some more water changes.
Wouldn't you want dead snails in your brewer's tank so they can have places to hide? See what I did there?
On the snail. Yeah.
You wouldn't want to buy live ones and then chuck them in there just to kill them.
You wouldn't want to be a trumpet snail.
Do you know the snails that I absolutely hate? Those really flat ones that I call snails a million, because there's always like a gazillion of them in every tank. If you see one, you literally have
little tiny ones.
Yeah,
I don't know what snails, those ones, but I don't know what they are here.
No, I don't. No, they're not. I don't think they're bladder snails. I think they're different again.
Bladder
snails are round with spots on them.
But you also get those ones that are like more darker in color.
I call them pond snails. But yeah, I don't know.
I just call them snails and move on with my life.
You call them like Snaily McSnaily face?
Yep.
But I can't name them all. Like, I'm looking in this tank and I can see at least 15 of them.
Oh, nice.
Which means there's 150
million of them.
Exactly. And then the last thing is Melissa says that dead snails add calcium to your tank, which is true. So, if you're keeping African cichlids and you kill a whole bunch of trumpet snails, leave them in there, or it's also really good for a planted tank. So,
well, good luck if you kill them trying to remove them anyway. Like, what do you do? You get them all out?
Just pick them all out and
one by one.
I suppose if you have sand or that, you could use a sieve, but it's a lot of hassle.
You'd have to dry the sand first. Oh, you put it through wet, I guess. Yeah.
Just be a pain.
Yeah.
But yeah, all good. There was some other things that we were going to discuss, but we seem to have run out of time. I know you have to go off to work, Ryan, like some kind of loser. So, we won't go too long. But yeah, we might revisit it. It was actually quite enjoyable talking about the snails today. Something a little bit different. So, and it seems the listeners enjoyed it. So that's good to hear.
We can get those. You can get Cora, can't you, in New Zealand? We can get.
Yeah. Well, that was on the list of things that we were going to talk about,
and they even bred the blue ones. Remember the blue ones that they bred?
A couple of years back now, eh?
Anyway,
we'll make a note to revisit this one.
No, we should not speak of this again.
Well, we'll let the.
What if we add the topic? We're talking about shellies, then are we allowed to talk about snails? Because we're never going to talk about it again, and that eliminates talking about shellies.
The shelly is not a snail; it's different.
Yeah, but you need the shells.
It's a fish. It's a fish. We also didn't talk about axolotls. So axolotls are a non-fish aquarium habitat.
Good.
That was also on the list of things to talk about. So.
But that's the extent of axolotl knowledge. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll revisit this one. Don't worry.
Okay.
All right.
Cool. Well, I've got to go to Russell. So, woohoo!
Sounds lit. Upgrading from Helensville.
Russell.
Yeah. Russell the love bustle. There we go.
Alrighty. Well, do you want to wrap us up, Ryan?
It's not Christmas, so I don't wrap things, and I hate wrapping presents. So
that is just such a lame attempt at a joke that it's not even funny.
I like this.
Come on, man.
Anyway,
at least put some effort in. You're just phoning it in at this stage.
Yeah, thanks for listening, and I've got to go take care of some paperwork. I hope you enjoyed this riveting episode of us not talking about fish, which was great. So, yeah, we need some more. We need some more requests for the merch so that we can actually make some. So far, we have -0, if that's a thing. Requests.
Yeah, one guy messaged and said, "Please don't." So,
please don't. Oh yeah. I wouldn't be surprised. Anyway, we'll talk to you all later. Have a glorious day, and think of me driving 3.5 hours today to get to Russell.
Sounds good. See you later.